Yo, it's your boy Logos, and today I want to react to Piers Morgan talking about a topic I speak about many times on this channel. Woke companies pushing agendas instead of just focusing on their business, their product, their service, whatever it may be. The first thing that pops up in my head is Disney, because you know they're a big multi-billion-dollar company. They come up with movies, TV shows, toys, shirts, everything you could think of. But lately they've been losing a lot of money on their movies because in my opinion they more care about diversity and inclusion and representation and all this other bullshit instead of, a good story, good characters, good writing, pacing, all the stuff that made the cinematic universe successful in the first place. I was a very big fan of Marvel because I am a nerd, and I was a big fan of them when they had Thanos, everything leading up to the Infinity War. Because for the most part, everything made sense. But then they started sliding towards woke culture, trying to push messages and agendas, and I just wasn't a fan of it. I haven't really been following Marvel in the movies since Infinity War. Only thing I've seen was that Spider-Man movie because they had the old Spider-Man in it, and it sounded pretty interesting. Plus, the villains was pretty damn good, and that's the type of stuff I want. But they don't do that stuff anymore. If they really cared about representation, they would use a character like Blue Marvel, a black guy who has a very good backstory involving the government, involving the time period where there was racism, rampant racism, systemic racism, all throughout the culture, all throughout America, and then showing his historic behavior and the way he still helped people, but he also didn't just pick sides because people want to pick sides. They're not really interested in good storytelling. They're more interested in getting people to sign up for the agenda, and hopefully those same people that do go along with that agenda they're pushing will go and see their movies. But that's often not the case, and they just alienate their fans and honestly talk shit about them, make fun of them. Like with the guy who plays the Mandalorian, or who was supposed to be playing the Mandalorian, but lately the past couple seasons they're trying to push it towards a whole different character, a female character, which is fine. But if you want to do that, make it your own show. But I'll be talking about that stuff forever and ever. So let's just watch this video.
Put my earpiece in. That's one thing we forgot, so I couldn't hear the director earlier. It's actually a blessed relief for both of us. Good evening and welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Capitalism is a colourful riot of banks, brands and businesses competing for our cash. We give them money, they give us the things we need or desire to make our lives easier and less miserable. That's the deal. But there's a problem. They hate you. And they don't seem to care if you know it. At some unidentified point in recent history, companies lost interest in simply selling things and decided it was their duty to change the way that you and I think. Someone somewhere said corporate board members of the world unite. And suddenly the people who sell you fizzy drinks and credit cards were also telling you that Black Lives Matter, that Pride Month is more important than Christmas, you're personally to blame for climate change because of your filthy carbon footprint, and so on and so on.
Some of those same people telling you that the CEOs, the people that want to push this stuff, or at least for money reasons, they ride on private jets. They're not very conscious of the environment. They don't give a damn because they have the money to circumvent it. They have bunkers. They have private land. They can farm and grow their own food. They don't care about inflation. They don't care about any of this other stuff. They just care about what I can ride with to push more money for my company and give me a bigger bonus or a golden parachute if I do get fired in the future.
This week, Coutts Bank, my own bank, was exposed for terminating Nigel Farage's account because of his divisive opinions, supposedly, and his stance on Brexit. Here's Dame Alison Rose, the CEO of NatWest, which owns Coutts.
The climate emergency is the biggest challenge that we're going to face. And as a bank and the leading bank in the UK, we have a real role to play. Clearly not enough money is going to female entrepreneurs, and there are too many barriers in their way to helping them succeed.
We have targets at our CEO -4 level right the way through the organisation to encourage all elements of diversity and inclusivity.
Well, apart from including, it seems, Nigel Farage. So her politics were pretty clear. I actually happen to agree with some of her causes and views, but I also wonder, what's that got to do with my bank? I disagree with Nigel Farage's opinions about many things, including Brexit, but I don't think he should be denied access to banking because of them. Does anybody? Well, Coutts has tonight grovelingly apologised to Nigel Farage and said NatWest will offer to find him alternative arrangements, but haven't offered him his account back at Coutts. The Treasury says it'll toughen up its rules to make sure this never happens again, but the reputational damage once again is done. It seems Orwellian that it ever happened in the first place. And when it comes to corporate wokery, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Ben & Jerry's, which sells ice cream, in
Right.
America blamed the United States for the war in Ukraine. Earlier this month, it called for indigenous lands to be returned to indigenous people.
Huh? Yeah. Fuck you. I, I don't. I don't get these people. If you really think the United States is gonna what dissolve parts of the United States and have it just be what free land for Native Americans, like we don't understand what you expect to happen. Like just be grateful you're not in a time period where we have widespread war, widespread conquering, widespread colonialization. This whole idea that people supposed to go back in time and give up land for grievances that are grievances in your mind just doesn't make sense to me. Europe isn't going to do that because it's been at war for thousands and thousands of years. How far do you go back to where you no longer care about a war or conquerors or anything like that? It's just stupid. Just shut the fuck up and make your ice cream. Goofies.
Before it emerged that its own HQ was built on land owned by, you guessed it, indigenous people. What's the lesson there other than all this wokery tends to be based on hypocrisy? Well, maybe it's just stick to selling ice cream.
Yeah,
Huh?
do
Try
that. Do what
that
you're
old
good.
trick.
Do what you're good at.
Bud Light must be wishing they'd stuck to selling beer. The
Oh,
drink
yeah,
of
I
choice
did
for
videos on
millions
that.
of sports-loving working-class Americans, teamed up with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney, who was a man till last year and now spends
Still
most
a
of her
man.
time mocking women. America's favourite beer company decided that she would be the perfect person to sell their beer and absolutely tanked their business
Stupid.
because most of their consumers went, "What are you doing?" Well,
Thank
that
you.
debacle has cost them $27 billion so far. The same thing you might remember happened to Gillette. We suddenly told all its male customers, including myself, that we were a bunch of Harvey Weinsteins until we could prove otherwise. They
What?
took an $8 billion write-down in value.
Are you
It's
serious?
corporate suicide.
I remember that commercial where it was like some white guy was about to talk to like this woman and she was walking out the store, and then out of nowhere this motherfucker, this black dude, like goes up and stops her and put his hands on the chest as if like, come on bro, you can be better than that. Like what the fuck? He was just trying to have a conversation with her, and yo random ass who I don't know gonna come up and put your hand on me and say I'm not allowed to talk to women, approach women because I'm a man and I'm dangerous. Fuck you. So idiotic. And like he said, they disrespect their own customers, but they care so much about the 1% or 2% of people with mental illness who don't even buy their fucking products. Dylan Mulvaney doesn't drink Bud Light. The people who support Dylan Mulvaney doesn't drink Bud Light. Even if they do drink Bud Light, they are insignificant compared to the thousands, millions and millions and millions of fans of Bud Light that drink it every single week, especially on Sunday and Saturday when there's sports going on. I know that, and I don't even drink Bud Light, but the CEO doesn't.
Or maybe it's Maybelline. The popular lipstick merchant last week decided to tell
What the
women they
fuck
should
is that?
aspire to be big, bald men with beards when they buy their
Ugh.
lipstick. Really? Why? Why would
Why?
you think that would work? Why is no one in your offices like me going, "What are you doing, you idiots?"
Crack?
We'll see how it goes. I can tell you how it's going to go. Probably not very well. Because most women don't buy lipstick because a big, bald, bearded bloke tells them to. Last month, Adidas chose a biologically male model complete with visible bulge to advertise a female swimming costume.
Oh, God, they look like an ant. Like that. Have you seen that movie Ants when they had to like fight the termites, I think, or the beetles or some shit? Like, boy, yeah, he's shaped just like an ant. I think I heard about this, but I ain't going deep into it because it just sounded gross. But you really gonna have a dude in a swimsuit with this whole package there bulging out, and you think I'm supposed to just like, yeah, that's normal. No, that's sick. Gross. Yuck. Ew. What else can I say? Diabolical.
And why would you do that? This week we discovered that Disney
Oh, yeah, it
has
is bullshit.
abolished its Seven Dwarfs,
They don't
the live-action
learn.
remake of
They
Snow
don't
White
fucking learn.
and the Seven Dwarfs. The dwarves have been replaced by 7 magical creatures of varying shapes, sizes, ethnicities, and genders. Actually, what that means is one dwarf actor is still in that film about 7 dwarves, and the rest are average height people.
So instead of getting some drawers or whatever politically correct term you want to use, whatever, I don't freaking know all of them. Instead of getting actual people like that, so those people get work and money, and get some, shine for their acting chops, Instead, you're gonna diversify it up and get a whole bunch of other people. Like when they have an opportunity to actually do diversity because it's faithful to the story or it's, I don't know, fitting in the actual story in itself, they don't do it. It's like they're just doing the opposite of everything that made sense.
So 6 dwarf actors lost work in a Hollywood blockbuster
Thank
because
you.
of wokery. Disney also abolished
Exactly.
its famous princes and princesses because they're gender stereotypes. Really?
What?
Can't we just have princes and princesses anymore?
Oh my god.
It does now feature gay kisses and lots of diversity. Here's a Disney executive explaining why.
Our leadership over there has been so
Of course, this who she
welcoming
looked
to
like.
my
Listen. Of course, she's a younger minority woman who only really cares about pushing woke identity compared to actual art. Come on, man. Why? Listen, this is why I've been saying this for years before I even had the channel. There's no point in diversity if everybody thinks the same. Having her there does not tell me anything about diversity. She goes along with the bullshit narrative of what they push on her in college. She have the balls to say, wait, that doesn't make sense. Wait, what about this? Wait, what about that? She like, okay, I'll do it. Okay, I say it, I'll do it. I'll hire. Okay. Fucking stupid.
not at all secret gay. Like I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to like the. If you see anything
What a
queer,
freak.
I'm proud family.
Everything
But, like,
I could
just was
do.
like no one would stop me, and no one was trying to stop me.
What a
I didn't
psycho.
like someone stop you with you adding your queerness everywhere. I've got no problem with people being gay or trans or anything. Frankly, black, white, I don't care. I treat everyone the same. I expect them to treat me the same. But this stuff is utterly ridiculous. Why does Disney, which makes fairy tale cartoons and adventure stories for kids, why does it need a queerness agenda?
Thank you. It's
I don't
free.
get it. And nor do the consumers. Disney's taken a huge hit as well recently. I'm not even right wing. You wouldn't believe it from the way I get treated on Twitter. People call me a right wing headbanger. I'm not right wing at all. I used to edit the Daily Mirror newspaper. It's a left wing newspaper. I think I'm sort of around the centre somewhere, really. Maybe slightly to the left. Although over the years, the left have got so nuts, I find
Yes.
myself sliding maybe slightly to the right. Maybe.
Exactly.
Because the left has lost its mind. This woke stuff is insane. And everyone's getting sick and tired of it. Not least sick and tired of woke companies telling us every day that we're evil until we can prove otherwise. I just want to buy an ice cream. I love ice cream. Without dismantling the patriarchy, whatever that is.
I agree with Piers Morgan on this. Like, things have gotten so crazy over the past few years. Like, at first, I was like a Democrat, and then I forgot what election it was. I think it was when Bernie Sanders was like running, and I hated Hillary. Like, there was no way in hell I'm gonna vote for Hillary. But I saw how they screwed over Bernie Sanders, but then I also saw how he did absolutely nothing to stop it. And I also saw how those black women came up on stage, took the fucking mic from the middle of his speech and started talking, and he just let them do it because I don't get it. They're black women, they're oppressed, and they need a voice, or he ain't gonna stifle them. He just gonna let himself get disrespected. And then you have the Black Lives Matter organization, and those women are Marxists and socialists, and it might have been involved with like some type of crimes or like fraud or something like that. It's just straight up idiocy. And somehow, some way, putting all this propaganda in movies and your acting choices or your actors or your stories you want to tell, or need to put career into every single thing. Like, what is wrong with these people? Like, seriously, what is wrong with these people? What brainwashing they receive? Because I was able to avoid my first couple years in college at a major university, so that bullshit was a lot less lower compared to people that go to like Harvard or I don't know, Texas University or TCU or something like that. So I really didn't have to deal with that nonsense as much, but I knew it was all the way around me. It was always there every single time I would be there, and I have to hear that nonsense all the time. But it's crazy. Woke companies care more about pushing an agenda for a group of people that don't even take their products to begin with. And they'll alienate the long time, decades, sometimes generation long customers for the sake of these people who don't give a damn about them to begin with. It is a joke. And you have places like Nike and Apple doing this nonsense too, when they literally have like slavery or indentured servitude with how they make their shoes, or the lithium battery that come out of the Congo or Africa, and people literally working in the dirt in slave type condition. It's basically slavery, and they're working to make all these phones too, but they want to throw up the gay pride flag or have a black, what was it like, what, like blackout day for like when George Floyd died or whatever, and they had like blackout social media. Like what the fuck was that gonna do? Like seriously, it's so stupid. Just empty headed gestures of I don't know, like allyship. It's just straight up stupid to me. Honestly, it just made no sense to me. But I'm glad that so many of these companies are doing it are companies that you really don't need. You don't need to watch Disney stuff. You don't need to get an Apple product. You can get something secondhand from somebody else. You could go to another company. If you need a cell phone, you can get the cell phone from Apple, but you don't have to go and believe in the stuff they say. Like, for the most part, a lot of these companies doing it, you can go to other competitors. Like Bud Light, you can go to all the other different beers if you like beer. And I'm glad that you live in a capitalist, well, I live in a capitalist country where I have that option. Not everybody has that, and some people really have no choice but to keep funding these companies that hate them. Disney doesn't like you. Like, they seriously don't like you. They don't like the same people that build up the fan bases or built up these properties that they actually make the money from. They don't like nerds. They talk shit on nerds, whether it's Marvel or Star Wars. They talk shit on nerds and say why you care so much about the stuff that you're actually a fan of. The actors that actually act in these movies and TV shows. Like I can't remember his name right now, but a guy from Game of Thrones talking shit about the fans of Star Wars because they don't like how they switching up the story or whatever. Like, these are the same people that are the reason why you have a paycheck. If Star Wars wasn't big because of the fans that has been for generations, you wouldn't be where you are. It's just a joke to me. But this is why Hollywood is a joke, and I'm happy they're falling apart right now. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's your boy Logos, and I'll see you next time. Peace.